The galaxy is vast, endless, in its brilliance and cruelty. Civilizations rise like sparks in the dark and are snuffed out just as swiftly. Among these countless worlds was a place called Arkhaven, a colony settled at the edge of charted space, where humanity sought to plant its roots far beyond the reach of Earth. The Galactic Council recorded its existence once, a small mark in the endless star maps, then forgot it. The distance was too great, the resources too scarce, the politics too inconvenient. To the Council, Arkhaven was nothing more than a speck of dust in the void, expendable. But to Earth, it was home. Generations passed. Arkhaven grew in silence, its people enduring storms, famine, and hardship, until one day shadows fell across its skies. Raiders, alien marauders who thrived on the weak, descended like wolves upon sheep. They came with fire, with hunger in their eyes, and with laughter that mocked the colony's pleas for help. For the first time, Arkhaven reached out across the stars. Their voices crackled through broken transmitters. "We are under attack. Please, anyone, save us." The Galactic Council heard them. Council. They deliberated in their endless chambers, weighed the cost of war against the lives of the forgotten. And then they voted. They voted to do nothing. Arkhaven was left to burn. But Earth remembered. From the cradle of humanity, far from the Council's watchful eyes, a fleet was stirred into motion. They were not the polished ships of the core worlds, nor the diplomatic envoys who spoke in riddles. No, these were warships, black and silent, forged in the secret foundries of Sol. Their hulls bore scars of past battles. Their engines roared like chained beasts longing to be unleashed. At their heart were warriors, clad in armor dark as midnight, carrying the weight of old oaths. They had been trained not merely to fight, but to endure, to stand unyielding against the storms of the galaxy. They were sons and daughters of Earth, and they had not forgotten their kin on Arkhaven. When their fleet crossed the void, they came without herald, without permission. They came with vengeance carved into their steel and fire burning in their hearts. On Arkhaven, the night was lit by the flames of raiders' camps. Children were dragged from homes, their cries muffled by chains. The colonists huddled in the ruins of what had once been a proud settlement, their eyes hollow, their hope broken. Above them, alien banners flew, a sign that their world no longer belonged to them. The raiders celebrated. They feasted upon stolen food, drank from looted stores, and laughed at the weakness of humans. To them, Arkhaven was just another conquest, another notch in their blood-soaked legacy. But then, the sky tore open. Thunder rolled, not of storms but of engines. From the darkness above, shadows descended, massive warships eclipsing the stars. Their hulls bore the insignia of Earth, the forgotten symbol of a world dismissed as dangerous, reckless, untamed. The raiders froze. Whispers spread through their ranks. It can't be. Earth? They were exiled, forgotten. And then the warriors came. They fell like lightning, drop pods screaming through the atmosphere, fire trailing in their wake. When they struck, the soil of Arkhaven, the ground itself trembled. The doors burst open, and out marched the soldiers of Earth clad in black armor that reflected the flames around them. Their visors glowed crimson, their rifles hummed with deadly energy. They did not hesitate. They moved as storms, swift, precise, merciless. Raiders who had terrorized unarmed colonists found themselves cut down by disciplined fire, their weapons useless against the fury unleashed upon them. The laughter that once filled the camps turned to screams. One colonist, a boy no older than 12, peeked from behind rubble as an armored warrior knelt before him, placing a gauntleted hand on his shoulder. Through the soldier's visor, a voice crackled. "You're safe now. Earth has come." Tears welled in the boy's eyes. For the first time, he believed, the battle raged through the night. The raiders attempted to rally, to call reinforcements, but every ship that rose from the ground was burned from the sky. Earth's fleet unleashed thunder, their cannons tearing holes through raider craft as if they were paper. Orbital strikes lit up the horizon, each impact a reminder that humanity's wrath was not bound by mercy. To the raiders, fear became their only companion. They had faced prey before, never predators. They realized, too late, that Earth's silence over the centuries had not been weakness. It had been patience, and patience, when broken, became retribution. By dawn, the fires of Arkhaven still burned, but the banners of the raiders had been torn down. In their place, human flags stood once more. The colonists gathered, trembling, uncertain if this was a dream. Their voices rose in disbelief as they saw the soldiers standing watch, their armor gleaming in the pale light. Survivors whispered, prayers of gratitude, not to the Council, not to the galaxy, but to Earth. One elder stepped forward, his voice breaking as he spoke. "We thought we were forgotten. We thought no one remembered us." The commander of the Earth warriors, his armor marked with the scars of battle, removed his helmet. His eyes, hard yet human, looked upon the colonists. "The galaxy may forget, but Earth does not. You are ours, and we will never leave you behind." The crowd wept. For the first time in generations, hope had returned to Arkhaven. Far across the stars, whispers spread. The Galactic Council received reports, trembling in disbelief. Earth had moved without permission, without sanction, without fear. They had defied the order of the galaxy. But more than that, they had reminded everyone of a truth buried in time. Humanity never abandons its own, and those who dared forget that truth would pay the price. Thus began the legend of the warriors, of Earth, the soldiers who descended from the heavens without fear, who carved their oath into fire and steel, we remember, always. And in the silence that followed, the galaxy shuddered, for it knew that the age of forgetting was over. The stars are a cruel council. They shine, they watch, but they do not intervene. On the frontier world of Heliora, humanity had built a jewel, a planet of seas that glowed silver beneath 3 moons, and forests that reached so high they brushed the clouds. It was a place of promise, far from the politics of the galactic core. Farmers tilled rich soil, miners dug deep into ancient mountains, and children grew up believing they were part of something greater, the galactic family. But when the warships came, that family turned its face away. The invaders arrived in the dead of night, an armada of the Vaith Dominion, slavers and conquerors, whose empires were built on the bones of the weak. Their ships cut through Heliora's skies like knives through silk. Cities burned before alarms even sounded. Screams carried across the plains as entire villages were herded into chains. The colonists sent their first desperate message to the Galactic Council. It raced through the void, encoded in the old protocols of unity. "This is Heliora. We are under attack. In the name of the Charter, we call for aid." They believed, as children believe in the sunrise, that help would come. In the shining chambers of the Galactic Council, the call was heard. Delegates murmured in their many tongues, their voices echoing against domes of crystal and light, but their faces were heavy with calculation, not compassion. The Chancellor of the Core Worlds rose, his voice smooth as polished glass. "Heliora is distant. To send fleets so far would drain resources from our borders. We must weigh the cost." Another spoke, a representative from the commerce guilds. "Their exports are small, their strategic value negligible. The Dominion may be cruel, but perhaps this is pragmatic." One by one they debated. Days turned to nights beneath the illusion of stars in their vaulted halls. At last, they voted. By majority, the council declared inaction. Heliora was abandoned. But Earth heard the same cry. For decades, humanity had been branded reckless, dangerous. Death worlders whispered in fear across the galaxy. Their place in the council had always been tenuous, their nature mistrusted. Yet when they listened to Heliora's screams, there was no debate. There was only resolve. In the dark shipyards orbiting Sol, warships were roused from slumber. Massive carriers hummed awake, their hulls painted in the stark insignia of Earth. Armored battalions assembled in silence, their soldiers, men, and women forged in hardship, loading weapons with steady hands. They were not coming for glory nor recognition. They were coming because no human world would be left to die alone. On Heliora, the days grew darker. The Dominion's banners flew above shattered cities. Families were dragged in chains toward orbiting slave ships, their cries echoing through smoke-choked air. Resistance fighters fought bravely, but their rifles were old, their ammunition scarce. The people prayed to the council, to the galaxy, to anyone who might listen. But only silence answered them. Until the night the stars shifted. They appeared without fanfare, silent at first, the fleet of Earth dropping from hyperspace like predators out of shadow. One moment, the Dominion's warships patrolled the skies with arrogance. The next, they were bathed in targeting locks. The first volley was merciless. Earth's destroyers unleashed storms of kinetic fire, tearing Dominion hulls apart before alarms could sound. Carriers deployed wings of fighters, screaming across the void like swarms of iron hawks. Explosions painted the blackness with fire. From the surface, enslaved colonists looked up and saw it, the heavens burning with vengeance. "Earth!" someone whispered. "Earth has come!" The landings began. Drop pods streaked through the atmosphere like meteors, their trails glowing against the night. When they struck the soil, the ground itself shook. Doors blew open and Earth's warriors emerged, armored giants with visors burning red, rifles humming with energy, blades gleaming in the firelight. They advanced without hesitation. Through the ruins of cities, they moved like storms. Dominion soldiers who had mocked human weakness fell screaming as disciplined fire tore through their ranks. Chains were broken, prisoners freed. In every alley, in every square, the cry spread like wildfire. "Earth is here!" Children clung to armored hands. Mothers wept in relief as gauntleted soldiers lifted their chains away. The warriors gave no speeches. They only fought, every step forward a promise carved into steel. "You are not forgotten." The Dominion rallied. Their warlords snarled, commanding reinforcements. Towers bristling with cannons opened fire upon the advancing humans. Orbital strikes scorched the Earth. But Earth's fleet answered with thunder. Battleships rained destruction upon fortified strongholds, obliterating the very ground the Dominion claimed. Fighter wings tore through enemy formations with brutal precision. It was not a battle. It was judgment. When dawn broke over Heliora, smoke still curled across the horizon. But the Dominion's banners were gone. In their place, human flags were raised once more. Survivors gathered in the ruins of their capital. They stared in awe at the warriors who stood among them, armor scarred but unbroken. An elder, frail and trembling, stepped forward. His voice cracked as he spoke to the commander of Earth's forces. "The Council abandoned us. We thought we were already dead." The commander removed his helmet, revealing weary eyes hardened by war. He looked at the elder, at the freed colonists, at the children clinging to hope. "The Council may forget its promises, but Earth does not. You are ours, and we will bleed before we let you fall." The crowd erupted, not in cheers but in tears, in embraces, in the quiet, overwhelming relief of survival. Far away, in the shining halls of the council, news arrived. Delegates read the reports in stunned silence. Earth had moved, Earth had fought, and Earth had won. Whispers rippled like fire through the chamber. They defied our ruling. They acted without sanction. They bled for a world we abandoned. Fear crept into their voices, for they understood the truth too late. While they debated, Earth acted. While they calculated, Earth remembered. And the galaxy would not forget that Earth's warriors had descended without fear from... That day, a legend spread across the stars, not of the Council's mercy, nor the Dominion's strength, but of humanity's unyielding oath. No human world stands alone, and the galaxy trembled, for it knew that Earth's warriors carried not only weapons, but memory. And memory was sharper than any blade. The galaxy has a way of forgetting. Civilizations rise, burn bright, and fade into ash, their names eroded by time until they are nothing more than whispers in old archives. So it was with Earth. Once, long ago, humanity had walked among the stars, fierce and unyielding. They built colonies on distant worlds, fought wars, made peace, and carved their place in the galactic stage. But then, silence. Wars, disasters, choices made in the shadows. No one could say for certain. Humanity faded, their fleets vanished, their colonies swallowed by dust. To the galaxy, Earth became a ghost story, a myth told to frighten children, dangerous, savage, best forgotten. And so the stars moved on. Millennia passed. The Krill Empire rose to power, spreading across systems like a tide of iron. Their war banners flew over shattered cities, their fleets choked hyperspace lanes. They did not conquer for survival, they conquered for hunger. Worlds that resisted were broken, their people enslaved. When the Krill came, the galaxy bent the knee. Some whispered for help, others begged for mercy. The Galactic Council signed treaties soaked in cowardice, exchanging freedom for the illusion of peace. No one fought back. No one dared. For who among the stars remembered Earth? It began on the planet Dravane, where the Krill dragged whole families, in chains through the streets. Towers of fire burned against a black sky, and the cries of the enslaved echoed in every corner of the world. The Council sent no fleets. They sent emissaries instead, bargainers, negotiators, who offered words where steel was needed. But on one night, as the Krill celebrated their victory with feasts of stolen wine and laughter that echoed across the ruined city, the stars above them shifted. At first it was mistaken for meteors. Points of fire streaked across the void, descending faster, brighter, sharper. The Krill raised their weapons to the sky, confusion etched into their alien eyes. Then came the thunder. The heavens split apart, and ships unlike any seen in an age tore free of hyperspace. Black hulls scarred by ancient wars, insignias long, erased from galactic memory. They moved in silence, predatory, relentless. Human ships. Earth had returned. The first volley was merciless. Kinetic slugs tore through Krill war cruisers, ripping them apart before they could even raise their shields. Fighters erupted from carriers like swarms of steel hornets, screaming into the night with trails of fire. The Krill panicked, broadcasting, desperate calls for reinforcements. But it was already too late. From orbit, drop pods fell like iron rain. They struck the ground with the force of gods, their impact shaking the very soil. Doors blew open, and from within strode the warriors of Earth, towering figures in black armor, their visors burning with crimson light, their weapons humming with power. They did not hesitate. They advanced without fear. The Krill turned their rage upon them, hurling squads of soldiers, tanks bristling with cannons, beasts bred for war. But against Earth's warriors, they were nothing. Plasma fire ricocheted. Off shields, blades of molten steel carved through alien chitin. Every strike was precise, every shot deliberate. They moved as one, disciplined, unstoppable. The enslaved looked on in stunned silence. A girl, no older than 10, clutched the bars of her cage as she watched an armored soldier tear through her captors. When the last krill in the square fell, the soldier knelt before her, his massive gauntlet gripping the lock of her chains. With a twist, the metal shattered. Through the visor, a voice emerged, calm, resolute. "You're free. Earth remembers." Tears streaked the girl's dirt-stained face. For the first time in her life, she believed she was not alone. The battle raged across Dravane. The Krill unleashed warships, their engines roaring like beasts, but Earth's fleet met them head-on. The void became a graveyard of burning hulks. On the ground, Earth's warriors liberated camps, tore down banners, and raised their own. Their arrival was not just rescue. It was a storm of reckoning. The Krill, once feared across the stars, tasted something alien to them. Fear. They had conquered countless worlds without resistance, but now they faced enemies who fought not with desperation, but with wrath honed by centuries of silence. They realized too late the truth. Earth had not vanished. Earth had waited, and now Earth had returned with vengeance. By dawn, the smoke of battle still hung in the sky, but the Krill's banners were gone. In their place, human flags rose once more. Survivors gathered in the ruins of the city, their voices trembling with awe as they looked upon the armored figures who stood like sentinels. One elder approached, his voice breaking as he spoke to the commander of the human forces. "We thought Earth was gone. We thought you were only a myth." The commander removed his helmet, revealing weathered features, eyes cold yet unyielding. He looked upon the people of Dravane, upon the freed, upon the hopeful. "Myth or not, we are here. The galaxy may forget us, but Earth does not forget. Not its kin, not its oath, not its wrath." The elder bowed his head, tears streaking his face. Around them, the freed fell to their knees, not in submission, but in gratitude. Far across the galaxy, in the halls of the council, news spread like fire. Delegates whispered in disbelief. "It cannot be. Earth is gone." No, Earth has returned. Fear rippled through the chamber. For centuries they had told themselves that humanity was extinct, irrelevant, forgotten. Now they knew the truth. Humanity had not perished. It had endured, waiting for the moment to strike, and when Earth struck, it did so without hesitation, without permission, without fear. Thus began the age of return. Across enslaved systems, whispers carried faster than light. The warriors of Earth are coming. They descend from the stars without fear. They remember when all others forget, and with every battle, every world freed, the galaxy trembled. For Earth had been erased from memory. But memory was not gone. It had only been waiting. And now, carved in fire and blood, the galaxy was being forced to remember. Humanity does not vanish. Humanity does not forget. And when it returns, it does so as storm, as fire, as vengeance. The Krill had enslaved the stars. The Council had betrayed them. But Earth remembered. And its warriors descended without fear.